Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into. I'm going to do a little bit of Art Bell Coast to Coast with John Lear and company. Bob Lazar. We'll get it.
In the early 70s, John Lear owned and skippered the 12-meter America's Cup boat Soliloquy out of Marina del Rey. His interest in UFOs began after reading Bud Hopkins' book, Missing Time. Then, a chance encounter with a U.S. Air Force pilot who was at a base in England where an extraterrestrial landed in December of 1980. In 1988, John met a government scientist who worked on a back engineering program of recovered extraterrestrial flying saucers for the Department of Naval Intelligence at a secret base within the Nevada test site known only as S4. This scientist not only explained how these craft traveled many times faster than the speed of light, but in March of 1989 took John to a remote desert location to watch the Navy test fly one of those extraterrestrial craft. John, who no longer gives lectures on the subject of UFOs, and has no plans, incidentally, is currently a DC-8 captain with a major cargo carrier, has 4 daughters, and lives in Las Vegas with his wife, Lee. So that's a pretty full plate for anybody's life, I would say, and a little fuller than mine has been, certainly, and I think most. In just one moment, we'll get to John Lear, and I think you'll find him more than just a little fascinating. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here comes John Lear. John, well, wait a minute, let me put you on hold there and bring you up here. John, it's been a long time since we've had you on the program. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Yeah, sure has been. It's been well over a year.
At least that long time. And the network in that time has grown magnificently. I think we've gone from about 28 stations to 120. Yeah, we've come a long way, maybe. Well, anyway, John, you've done a lot of your life, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit here and there.
It's awfully busy. I mean, this is quite a resume you've got, and that's a lot to do in a while. And then all of a sudden, at some point, you decided to mix into all of this, which is enough for about 2 people normally, and you got involved in UFOs.
Yes, involuntarily, I might add.
We'll get to that. You've done something kind of interesting. You've given me this timeline, and I do appreciate it. I would like to go back over the history a little bit with you, John, and pick your brain about what you know about the incidents that you have listed for me. Modern UFO ufology really began about 1947.
Yeah, it really did with the chemical trade. There's been a lot that happened before that. There was a recovery, I think in 1941, I think in Arizona, and there was a lot of activity during World War II, but really modern ufology started in 1947 with the recovery, well, first with chemical fighting up in Seattle, I think it was, and then the recovery of the crowd in Roswell, New Mexico.
I'm not familiar with the Arnold sighting.
Well, chemical sightings with plane call was 9 discs flying in the air. He was out on a search and rescue mission. And he saw these dudes, and when he landed, the reporters wanted to know what he saw, and he said, well, it was kind of like saucers, and that was the first coining of the term flying saucers. And this happened like in late June of 1947. Coincidentally, just like a week later was this recovery of the craft Lazar.
Well, I'd say modern ufology, really, there have been sightings, I suppose, for as long as man has been around to record them, haven't there?
Yeah, at least there's hundreds of records in the Bible, and before that, Chinese and Indian records record saucers, up to 4,000 years ago.
Okay, now to Roswell very quickly. I interviewed the author of the book, The Truth About the UFO Crash at Roswell the other day. And he did a pretty good job of documenting what I guess is, would you say it is the best documentation of something that has happened?
Yeah, probably a little better than, of course, that's on the track it is.
It is. And I know you looked at Roswell. I guess it's probably one of the first things that you studied when you jumped into all this. What kind of conclusions did you draw from it?
Well, at that time, 1985, when I first got into this, I think then there was over 200 witnesses that were still alive that they either tracked or loaded or seen the craft and the body. And of course, most people are still alive now, but good, overwhelming evidence that this occurred.
What actually supposedly happened? What is the best guess? Was there a collision? Did it blow up? Does anybody speculate about what happened to this craft?
There's theories, and I don't think it's so much so important as what happened, the fact that it did happen. Now, some people say there were two crafts, one landed and one crashed on the Magdalene Flats, about 100 miles east of Roswell, and the craft, the portion of the craft on the Ranch, very near Corona. But whatever did happen, they certainly collected a large amount of debris, and there was a lot of people involved in it. But what was so interesting is the preparedness for the military to deal with it. There was no they knew exactly what to do. They knew exactly what they had, and that it must be kept secret. And they were very well prepared.
So that would indicate to you, I guess, that they had some knowledge of what was going on, or some interaction prior to
They had advanced knowledge to deal with the possibility that this could happen, and they were very well prepared.
All right, all in the same kind of timeline, 1947, the establishment, the original establishment of MJ-12. And the MJ-12 documents, which I've seen, John, do you view those as legitimate?
The information is legitimate, not necessarily the documents. President Truman certainly formed MJ-12 on September 24th, 1947. There's enough evidence in government documents that they did have a meeting with certain people and informed this body, which of course has been in charge of since.
What was the job of MJ-12? It was a charter, right? What was it supposed to do?
The charter of MJ-12 was basically to research the craft, determine what it was made of, whether it was a threat to the country, and to determine what should be done to tell, if at all, the public about what was going on.
So they kind of were the overseers of all this.
Yeah, they were, and they are the overseers. The original 12 that were appointed by Truman, the last one that died, I think it was 1983, the former Secretary of the Army coordinator. He was the last member. As to who was involved or a member of it, today we can only speculate. I really don't know, but
well, since that time, there must have been many members. In other words, people die, people retire, people get sick, all kinds of things. So, are you saying it's still in place today?
yes, MJ-12 certainly, and they have, they would have had to replace the original 12. I don't think it would be more than
People people talk a lot about this current administration and the current administration, and how open they've been in the nuclear, the tests that were done, the awful things that were done, and they have hopes that they will also be open about UFOs and maybe tell us what's going on. What do you think?
When I first got into what they call ufology, and I think it's a dumb thing, but when I first got into this, I realized the overwhelming impact of what was going on and the cover-up has been in place for 20 years. I got up on my soapbox and did lectures and said, hey, listen to me, there's something going on here that we should all be aware of. That was like 1985. And now in September of 1994, I believe the government was correct to cover it up. And as short as 3 or 4 years ago, I still thought they were going to gradually release information so that the public would, not panic, but accept this. And I don't think they ever had an intention of doing that, and I don't think they have today. I thought it could be found. I can't go along with it. I believe that the public does not have a need to know. They don't have a right to know. There's so many aspects to this thing. It's really disrupting part of life. We know it, but I don't think we have any intention of doing it. The only reason that they would maybe be forced to do it is if there was a crash or a landing that we absolutely probably not denied. And they have facilities and teams in place to prevent things like that ever happening. They have been talking to the crash very, very carefully, and they completely covered up something that's allowed, and it's their business to ensure that everything is lined up. And this includes replay related personnel or even community personnel that have seen this ride either accidental or on purpose. They go to that again.
Well, I do know this. There have been crashes here near us, John, and the rest of you, and you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And there have been crashes out here, and it's true, the public would never know. They get these areas quickly cordoned off, and you don't get anywhere near it. And, it's reckoned, and it could be anything, and so who knows? If the sensor did come down, they can get control of it very quickly, just like that.
Exactly. I heard one that landed at the site, but landed just maybe a few miles outside of downtown Albuquerque. And they're located all over the United States. They're in underground facilities. They have helicopters. They have people who were heavy equipment operators who have passed authority to go to any civilian military base and fly right off with this equipment. So their job is to go and keep it from being seen. And so the first thing they do is have portable walls that are put in place. And then they secure the area. There's a three-way. What they can do is have a heavy truck purposely have a rack right there to block the three-way from a mile from the crash or the landing. They can also start fire. These are really interesting things. Portable walls around this thing, and everybody's around trying to figure out what to do. I think we've been about 5 hours, and now all of a sudden it just stopped. And nobody got out, and there was no communication, and it just stopped.
All right. We're very efficient in this country doing this kind of thing. And I don't doubt that for a second. I've seen it myself. But John, they come down all over the world. Or at least you would think they come down all over the world. So what about other countries less prepared to make it all a big secret?
We go in and with money, you have this craft, and here's $20 million. Make sure that nobody ever finds out about the recovery. Malaysia, Argentina, one in South Africa, it's very confusing. All over the world, except for the Russia, we have control of those, and I don't know how that happens. I mean, I don't know what happens in Russia with drugs and differences in countries there.
In 1928, the Aztec Republic, possible EBE1, what will that be? The man tells me.
Aztec recovery was a conservation in Aztec Mexico, and they recovered a few bodies from that one. It's not sure where they got this first by alien, but they were called the EBE extraterrestrial biological entities. They got together with Rock, who was one of the first members of MK12. At some point in that 47-48, they recovered the first by alien. The Mandela incident stems from that. That was the one crash piloted by Dr. Mandela over in Kentucky. And he got up to about 30,000 feet. He was on clear communication. And he said, I have been crying. It's going like a crash in the field. It was there are stories that Mantel's body was not in the crash. For sure that was Mantel in the 30
How many bodies totally do you think they've recovered?
Between 50 to 100, representing at least 5 different organizations. They're all on private storage. One of the interesting things here is that in 1932, only the thing is that I know they ever got to see the bodies with Jackie Gleason, and he was a very big supporter of Nixon when they were playing balls down there in Miami in 1972. And Jackie Gleason, as not many people know, was one of the he had a tremendous interest in flying saucers, and he had one of the biggest collections of books that they were revealing in a picture that I bought.
No, I didn't know that.
And I'm taking storage in the house was built in the shape of the saucer, and he called it the mothership. Anyway, in conversation with me, sure. And when they finished their golf game, they got in the presidential helicopter, and they went to Homestead Air Force Base, right near where they were flying, and called, and he was showing the body.
John, you were talking about Jackie Gleason. You said that Richard Nixon petitioned for the golf course. What was he doing?
Right, at Homestead Air Force Base, and the reason we know this is his second wife, was describing the incident, how he came home that night, and he was all pale, and he said, my God, what's the matter? He said, well, give me a drink and I'll pay it. So he said, I'm going to drink, and he sat down, he said, you know that same thing happened to me today, and went on to relate the incident about how he received the body. And this book was never published, but there was an manuscript of the
Wow. And so he actually got to see the body. That's what he said?
That was one of the places that had the cryo storage and displays where people were authorized to see the displays of certain world leaders, certain political people.
Are they still there now?
I don't know.
Well, surely reduced the bodies, don't we?
They went along.
No idea where they might be. I've heard some rumors lately, John, that there may be some bodies here in Nevada somewhere, not, Area 51-ish, but somewhere else here in Nevada. Do you think that
Could very well be. There's a lot of things here in Nevada. And a lot of secret places, not only definitely a lot of other places right close here in Alfred, which is a place they call Area 2, which is the bomb storage area. But part of that area is called Area 2. And there's a lot of pieces of different parts stored there.
All right, there's so many incidents we can talk about. There was one recovery, I guess, in 1950 in Mexico, across from Del Rio, is that right?
They crossed about 30 miles across the border, and we went over and actually dragged it 30 miles to Del Rio. And up until maybe 10 or 15 years ago, people that in research that it just takes to still see the drag marks of wood employed across. Then I've heard about this before, John. In Washington, D.C., it is true then that for a couple of weekends in a row, back in 1952, they actually had flying saucers over Washington, D.C. They were photographed by the press. Yeah, I want to put them back, and they saw them both on the radar, which they could go down to the library and pull out those weekend editions, I think, of the Washington Post. You know, there's stories all over it. And then I think the third weekend, the Air Force released a story about a press conference of the decade, and they said that it had been naturally depressed by it. What's so weird, let's not photographs. How do you photograph the picture version? Well, that's a good question. So, I've never seen the photographs. What do they look like? Well, the photographs were, of course, confiscated. They had a very good machine in place for dealing with the press and for dealing with anybody that's photographs. They still do. Now, once in a while, you'll take a photograph of a bright light sky, but you don't see any real good photographs because somehow they get all of them. Then there was a recovery in Johannesburg, South Africa, back in 1940, and I sort of vaguely remember something about that, John. Well, it was one thing, I don't know too much about that, but there was several years ago. Yeah, that's the one I remember. It supposedly crashed, and we had one of our recovery teams from the C5A and go over there, and they loaded up and bring it back to, let's say, Red Paris, out here at the Green Line. All right, and then the first official meeting in 1954, supposedly, between Eisenhower and the aliens at New York, yeah, and particularly this thing out there is good evidence that did occur, and that Europe was the original name of that was it was later named after Glenn Edwards, who had been crashed in a flying plane there. But it wasn't called Europe, and Eisenhower was vacationing and he was called to Edwards by the military, and the press was given the story that he had to attend an emergency session with a dentist as a cover. But in fact, this is when the meeting occurred, and Eisenhower essentially told these people that the world was not ready to see what would be aware of them, and that's where it stood until the Holocaust encounter of 1954. But later, the dentist was interviewed and said, no, he's more familiar with me. So another story was started back around. By 1956, when the orbit submarines had been done, the first human evaluation. Yeah, right. Yeah, the first one that they knew about, and that was the Grudge 13 report that Bill English read. And it was Jonathan T. Mullen, who was a tech sergeant out on Holland Range. And he and the captain were out there recovering some missiles at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And as the story goes, Mullen was his hill to where there was kind of a bright, shining light. And the captain called after him and didn't hear any response. And he went up to the hill and saw this was kind of a snake-like arm coming out of it, and he grabbed Mullen, who was hidden and drowned him in this saucer. The captain, who was petrified, ran up back in his jeep and went back to the base. And he was in fact charged with murder because there was no body. But about 10 days later, they recovered the body of the Munchkin. So it's totally mutilated to imagination of how bad it could be, and was worse than that. Public people be aware about anything before something had gone right. And so they're trying to go amplified about this whole thing with mutilation. The administration all over the place, and they think it's probably thinking about the possibility of anything other than direction. There are a lot of the subject of mutilations. Look at how it doesn't show me in certain countries. Concentrate a lot on the animal mutilations, and I just got an article from somebody. It came in the social article, and the local kind of angle to it. In the Albuquerque Journal, Sunday, August 14th, so it's brand new. There are cattle mutilations going on like crazy right now in northern New Mexico, and they really are on finding genitals and the tongues and so forth, all that sort of thing going on, and it's going on massively now in northern New Mexico. Are the cattle mutilations related in any way to the human mutilation? I don't know, but they do the same thing. They core out the rectum, they stick the genitals, they close the eyes, they follow the same pattern. We had a very nice incident happen here in Nevada. So remember in the 90s, there was a big story about someone with sheep that were found dead in Nevada. Yes, I mean, what the interesting thing was that area was all encouraging researchers and those that were elevated in no independent inspection was done. And then at the initial interest, there was only one story done, no reporter was done. This reporter never went to the lawyer scientist, which realized the and he wrote that the military was killed by alcohol acquired from trees were charged, but then later released for inconnection to evidence. And this reporter received the Pulitzer Prize for his report. If you have to come to guess with regard to all these cattle mutilations, what do you think's being done? I don't know. It has to do with genetic experimentation, those parts of the body, particularly hormones, secretions, that kind of thing, for whatever. Well, there are people who suggest that it's our own government, that our government is somehow brilliant. But it didn't make sense to me that our government wouldn't feel the need or even have the need to raid anybody's cattle farm. That's true. Within our own government, it would be a little bit more discreet. There's no question in my mind that we do some of that, but major portion of it is done by someone else. Well, you think the government could get cattle if they need cattle? Certainly, they have a farm, and they wouldn't need the body flying around it, like speculation. All right, the explosion over Nevada that you talked about, the report of the plant in the next one, 1962. Yeah, I was just trying to find a copy of that, of the one that is found. It occurred, well, it was seen all over Nevada, but apparently part of it crashed in and apparently that was one of the first test sites that our government made in and recovered extraterrestrial craft. And because disastrous outcome of it. There will be no more testing until 1972. Apparently that was us trying to fly one of the extraterrestrial craft.
Is that one that crashed, or was one turned over to us in some way?
Or all I can tell you is it was acquired. Now, whether it crashed in enough horsepower to fly, or whether it was turned over to us as one of the helicopters at Air Force Base in Utah. Everybody wakes up one morning and there's one sitting on the ramp. The doors are open. It's just sitting there. And that was one of the cases where we had to cover it up and take it somewhere. Maybe we can stay there on the ramp. How we did it, I don't know, but it's there.
Well, so hard to know the blanks sometimes. The Haldeman incident in 1964, an agreement in the late 60s, building and Dulce recovery near Fort Raleigh, Kansas. That was a busy year.
Yeah, that was the Holloman incident was documented by standard production of the film that was released in 1973. And that was actually supposedly the first attempt by the government to release information to the public. And they put standard film to the CIA front in Los Angeles to write a documentary outlining the history of UFOs and to end it with the actual film, the actual landing and colony. And that was going to be the final part of the film. So they got everything done. Emanator himself, Robert Emanator, who was a close friend, actually camped 800 feet of this film in his house. He did not see the film. He was given it to him by Paul Shartle, who was head of the audiovisual department at the Air Force Base, and Shartle watched the film in its entirety. Because there's no question that it was a real film, and that it showed the three saucers coming down, one landing, the other two going away, and then three people coming out. They were humanoid, but they had a weapon. And this film was supposed to be shown at the last one of the actual documentary called was manifest in future. At the last minute, the Pentagon withdrew the film and said, we want you to not use this film, but be 50 in terms of it may have happened. And so if you ever see a copy of this, Ron Sherling does the narration say, let's consider an incident that could happen in the future or already may have happened in the past, think back in the ad and that's how it jumped out released. But that was the incident of Holland at the time.
All right. What is Dulce? What is Dulce?
Dulce was an underground base that still active. It's on the Colorado, New Mexico border. It's near the town of Dulce. It's completely underground. My understanding is about 1,500 feet underground. And that's where supposedly the CIA and the aliens did joint genetic experiments. I got out of Dulce. I thought we had case out there to instead of the highway patrol, Mexico highway patrol in this area was mostly. I spent 2 evenings with him driving around the entire area with all his groups and all the crap he's seen. And the evidence that Dulce was in fact there. And there's no question in my mind that it was there. And then and there's a story that will come on later, what's called the Dulce incident, which happened in 1979 when we get up to that part of the program.
All right, and we're talking about Fort Raleigh, Kansas.
Yeah, there was a recovery or a landing at several of the soldiers who were there obviously up there.
Then one year kicks from complaining.
That was very famous and it's covered in a lot of these things like hard copy and entertainment tonight. They use put on this every once in a while, but there was a recovery there of an acorn shaped quite a lot of evidence.
Somewhere, not just bodies, but discs and parts of discs and all of that.
We do, and I was reading a story here from one of the researchers, Stringfield, talked about four military personnel who were engineers, and they were flown one night, 4 hours to get back their right path. They didn't know where they were being flown. They didn't sign Social Security oath. They said that after 4 hours they landed and they were blindfolded. They were taken out. They said when we stepped out, it was like being in the desert. They weren't allowed to put their blindfolds up. They went into this hangar, and the lights were turned on. They were the blindfolds taken off, and they said this whole thing was full of all kinds of artifacts. And there was a curator there, and they were allowed to inspect, and they were there for 4 days to inspect and speculate on what these items might be. And then after the 4 days, they said they could come back anytime they wanted, if they had any fresh ideas, but they were not inspected.
How intriguing. Then there's 1967, this one's close to home, a big disc launched as covers on the Las Vegas school of says, and children are sent home. Really?
Yeah, a friend of mine sort of got Tabitha was, I think, one of the students there, and they covered over the school, and the children were sent home, and they were going to get something called a pyramid. I'm not sure whether it was her or somebody else, but that's what happened. Along with that, there was a landing in Arizona where a saucer landed, and people got out, and a colonel who was there drew his weapon, and the colonel was paralyzed in place, and the weapon was inoperative, and a few minutes later it took off.
Well, John, we're about out of hour here, out of this hour, but I want to ask you, you've flown, you've been in our skies, you look more in the skies than probably most of us. In all those zillions of hours, how many hours do you have now, John? Do you know? 17,000 hours. In 17,000 hours, one would think you'd go up there, you would have been one of the guys who would have seen one.
No, you're not sitting there looking out the window. You're looking at your instruments. So, particularly when you're flying with now, at night, where it's more likely you're going to see something, you can't see outside because you've got to blow the instrument inside, and you have to put your blades up to get rid of all the darkness reflections to it. It's something that doesn't happen.
So, but unless it was close and bright, you probably wouldn't see it.
No, you really wouldn't. And the only time that I ever saw anything, and it's still interesting these days when I think about this incident, it never occurred to me. I was in a Learjet, was in the afternoon, I was from over the top space from flight from Wichita to Los Angeles. I was descending through about 18,000 feet, how I've read it.
John. I've never heard this story, so hold this story. We're now at the top of the hour, and when we come back, we'll tell the story. We'll begin my guest, John Lear, who has flown in general craft for many, many thousands of hours. And press a little bit, now we call one. What did you see?
Well, it was like 1966 or so, and I was sending an Learjet from a flight from Wichita to Los Angeles, and descending speed like 30,000 feet, and I was headed westbound, and from my left to my right, I saw what I thought at the time was a NASA lifting body that had 24 or one of those type things. Remember the one with the $6 million minute price?
I do, yes.
And that's what it looked like. It went by, and I mentioned it to Cobalt, and I landed. I distinctly remember calling Hank Perry, who was chief justice of the Learjet, and said, "Reed, you'll never guess what I spotted." And he said, "What?" I said, "A lifting body passed." And only after 25 to 30 years, I look back and say how ridiculous that was, because under no stretch of the imagination would a lifting body be in the main approach corridor for the Los Angeles International Airport. So I don't know what I saw, but in all my thousands of hours, I guess that's the only strange thing I've ever seen. That's it. All right. There's so much history to go through here, John. I guess let's jump into a violent encounter, supposedly, between UFO humanoids and the U.S. military at number 2 or 4. Yeah, there was two. There was one that happened in Cambodia, one that happened in Peony, Ohio. The one in Peony, Ohio was an encounter between the unexpected craft and the U.S. military detachment, and there was 11 American casualties and an unknown number of aliens. And one of the researchers met a guy who worked at the cemetery at Lake Cat who claimed to have seen bodies on litters arriving to base during that time. As I go through the history, it is interesting in one respect. All of these occurrences, all of these witnesses, all of these bodies, how can it, well, of course it isn't really kept secret, because here we are talking about it, but still, the official code of secrecy remains. How can it be? It's great. They can keep it secret if they want to. Well, that's really true, and if anything, the revelations about the nuclear testing, I think prove that. I can't imagine how our government could keep secret the fact that they were feeding radiation to children. Yeah, but they did. All right. You mentioned Cambodia, a firefight between U.S. military and small gray humanoid. Yeah, that was in April 1972. And what happened is members of the U.S. Army Special Operations Group were involved in a firefight with documents of an identified alien craft. There were several alien casualties and a single human death. Several were burned by an unknown weapon. And what happened was this platoon happened on a group of aliens who were sorting human body parts into large bins and sealing them. Apparently, it proved that several aliens were killed. Through headshots because the suits they were wearing were essentially bulletproof. The soldiers so bad, several aliens quickly packed as much they could, got in this craft, and it took off. The unit was interrogated originally by military personnel and then by civilians who were identified as representatives of magic. And they were part of the investigation to go out and show everything. I'm going to jump into the tough stuff early. Why, John, would they be packing up body parts? But it got me, for every answer I've ever gotten in all this research, I get 10 more questions posed. So if you look at parameters, well, I think this goes to a pretty awful area. I mean, we have not ruled out the possibility of interview that we are for them. But it's kind of far out. Make that statement once in an interview, and I regret it ever since because it sounds outrageous. I'm not sure. Listen, let me stop you, John. It really did sound outrageous then. Now, you know something? I've been interviewing a lot of ufologists, scientists, scholars, people who have said things that when they say them, John, they suddenly harken back to some of the early interviews that I did with you, and I'll say to myself, sometimes out loud, I'll be damned. I remember John said that, and a lot of people were flawed, and here we are. I mean, a lot of that stuff that you told me, John, has been coming back recently. Yeah. And a lot of investigators, John, are beginning to go down some of the same roads you did. Back then, you were one of the other ones saying, look, these guys are not necessarily warm, fuzzy, nice people who wish us well. And you were almost alone then. But now, let me tell you, John, more people than not are beginning to join you in that way, in that view. Yeah. At any rate, the both incident. Yeah, the both incident I first heard about in 1986 and 1987 when I was invited to be part of the group of researchers in that Greystone, Colorado. We unstructured traded information. And I was handed a letter by one of the guys who got this letter from a person in Las Vegas and did a bunch of research that talked about this underground base and found it so far out. But I met with this person, and she had known one of the officers who had worked inside this base and originally told her about the massacre at Baltic. I further heard a story by a guy named Paul Denwood, who lived in Albuquerque, who was involved in this, and he told me about it also. The story went that in 1979 we had 44 scientists who were being instructed by some subject, I don't know what it was, but they were being instructed at Baltic, and for some reason, it was agreed that our security force, our Delta force, would not carry conventional weapons at any time in this class around this area. And for some reason, one of the officers walked in with a conventional sidearm, and the alien killed him outright. Now, how that was done, I don't know. But on the video, on the monitor, in compatriots, the Delta force saw that he was killed, and they went down on that to exact revenge, and it ended up that all 44 scientists and about 66 of the Delta force were killed. It was just a complete massacre. So I just put this in the file with an interesting story, and it didn't come up again until Lazar, who worked on the report, will get that later, weather report, that documented this massacre. Now, the only thing different about the report that we read was that in the report we read, the massacre occurred somewhere around Area 51.
Is there any insight on how they were killed?
No, the report simply died at him.
Again, that's a lot of relatives who are going to be requiring explanations and that sort of thing. How is it all explained?
Well, now remember, this is just, speculation. We've realized now that most of the people that get in this program do not have relatives for one reason or another. Either they're orphans or their families passed away or whatever. And it's essential that this kind of thing happen, or kind of go this way, because they don't want to have to take the time to explain away the death of a relative.
Some people who do these things are screened specially for this kind of work, which includes
not special, but they also have other methods. They go to the family and say, look, we're going to give you a annual or monthly stipend, but this is, national security, and it's for God and country.
so sign this and it'll be done.
Yeah.
I understand. Then I think it was an incident that had a lot of influence on the Bentwaters in 1980.
Bentwater occurred 3 days at the end of September. We have a nice Air Force base about 50 miles northeast of London called Bentwater. At that time, it was an A-10 base, but we were on tank killers. And a very strange thing happened during those 3 days, culminating with it wasn't a landing, it was an appearance of a very weird aircraft witnessed by General Ford Williams, who was base commander, Major Ted Conrad, Colonel Chuck Hall, Terry Warren, and a few others. But at any rate, the incident did occur, but it was a story, as far as I was concerned, many pilots had heard it. And in 1985, I ran into a friend here in Las Vegas, an Air Force representative in Wallace, and he was transferring from the particular Air Force to the Guard, and he came over to the house, and we started talking about stuff, and I mentioned, I asked where he mentioned Bentwater, and I said, oh, that's supposedly where that sponsor landed in 1980. He said, no, John, not supposedly, it did. He said, I didn't see it, because that was confined to quarters, but I know the guys who did it. And he said, well, give me their names. And I said, wait a minute. You're telling me this stuff is real, that there are flying saucers at this time, and that's not no real interest in this stuff. My interest is my interest are 71, U-2,
I understand. What about your dad, John? I know your dad had great abiding interest in all of this. Didn't any of that rub off on you, or it wasn't self-ignited?
Well, because there was no proof. He was certain that they existed, and now that I look back, it's because of who his friends were. He was friends with General Benford, who was first head of the CIA, and was a member of MK-12. He was very, very, very close friends with Jimmy Duval, who was up to his eyeballs in his neighborhood stuff. But, he never went on to me, and it was just not a part of my interest. Sure, everybody's interested in flying saucers, but, unless you see one or have hard evidence, it's just not a part of your life. But in 1985, it became a part of it, and Grace said, yeah, it's true, it's going on. And that's what involuntarily, I might add, launched me into this research.
Okay, so that was really the beginning of your interest?
Right.
All right. In 1983, you were written second attempt at public disclosure, Linda Howe, MK-12, and something about HBO. What does all that mean?
This is when Linda Howe was contacted by MK-12 in order to do a documentary, and they said that they would make it available to her. Many thousands of people, doctors and whatnot, and they wanted her to write a documentary that would be presented on HBO. And she contacted HBO, and I suppose that we'll do it, but before we get it, we want to film interview with the president, his chief of staff, and his national security council saying that this is true. And MK-12 essentially let her on a round robin, so to speak, of different bases and different facilities, all kinds of things for about 8 months. At the end of which, it was just terminated. She never heard anything more.
Well, that must have been very frustrating. I'm going to answer it.
There was no more contact, and only a few years later, she went into somebody who was involved in that, and they said, I'm sorry it turned out the way it did, Linda, but we had no option. There was no further information. So she told me where they took her and things she saw is absolutely fascinating. And of course, Linda Howe was very articulate, very knowledgeable, and she was improvement in no. So, it's just a story she was telling.
Mm-hmm. By the way, John, again on the subject of Linda Howe, I talked to her earlier today. And she said she's going to be on the way to Mexico. She said enough, there's too much going on down there, so she's going to be on the way to Mexico and will be reporting to us from New Mexico.
Well, she was the leading authority on mutilation. She did that documentary for the APTA in Denver, I think it was in 1980.
Right, I believe so.
And then her and I, after the Crystal meeting, I drove down to Roswell, and here we are driving out in the middle of the desert, just about 15 miles north of where the first UFO crashed. And we're on this little tiny road, it's a dirt road, about 20 miles from nowhere. And we're driving along this road, and we thought, I thought, well, here I am with the world's leading authority on cattle simulations. So we get out there, and there was none of the classic cookie cutter decisions. But we started looking around, and we saw 3 others. And then we saw 2 others, and then I stood up on the bed of the truck, and I think we counted 34 cows.
Wow.
And so we went to found the nearest ranch, and asked the guy if he knew about the cows. He said, yeah, he said they got it with some disease. Well, then to have to check in with a veterinarian on this, whatever the disease was, I don't remember what it is now, but the veterinarian said, no way. He said, if that had been that disease, that place would have been closed off in 100 miles. It's a very odd, unexplained.
It is, and I've heard Linda Howe say exactly the same story. So I guess that's what happened.
That was very weird. That was like in 1986.
All right. But she's still trying to get it out to the public today, and that's well over a decade now.
Yeah.
And then the Eisenhower Breaching Corps leaked to Hollywood producer and friend of Bill Moore.
Well, that was Jamie Chandra, and one day he received in the mail this film, which was undeveloped, which he had developed, and it was the Eisenhower briefing as we come to know it, and it was supposedly the briefing that Eisenhower got when he became president on the alien situation. It told about the Roswell crash, it told what there, it told the original members of the B-12, and what they planned to do. It's very interesting document. Now, people say, again, I say the information was definitely true, not necessarily the document itself. Was a document.
Well, right. Then in 1985, earlier than that, what made you write that, John? Why 1985?
That's when Bill Wilson came through Las Vegas.
Then 1986, and I remember this one very well. JAL 747 captain was followed by UFOs 3 times and fleet as an aircraft carrier, and I remember that.
It was an enormous craft, and it followed him for an hour. He was on his way from to Anchorage, fuel stop in Anchorage, and then on to Japan. And about an hour out of Anchorage, at 2002 night, this thing appears in front of the aircraft. And it was not a passenger, that was cargo, and there was only 3 guys in the cockpit, but they all saw it. Radar had it returned to be sure it wasn't some gigantic reflection of some sort. They went down to 29,000 feet to see if it was foul, and it did. And then after about an hour, it just left. They landed, gave their FAA report, and other than a few comical news stories ignored by the press, specifically by Aviation Week and Space Technology, who is our premier aviation technique, doesn't give us one word, not even a sentence.
Well, for all your fun, John, and the one incident you had that may have been something like that, you must talk to all kinds of other captains, lots of friends in the industry. Do they talk about this now?
Not much policy, constantly can bring this up. I'd like to have been with a group for a long time, and I'd like to seem appropriate, right? But you find out that maybe a third of the pilots can speak something.
All right. We're getting up toward the modern day here. But first, let us look at 1987. And particularly those reading sightings, because that's still going on, John. It's still going on. We're getting photographs. There's been recent photographs, one which is a very picture. A lot of people are following up on that right now. And the same gentleman at Los Feliz continually seeing these craft. What is your assessment of what happened at Los Feliz?
Well, I first heard about it in 1987 when the Channel 4, I believe it was down there, documentary, and a cat in Walter's film that he took out the back door of this craft hovering behind the tree line there, just over the tree line. And it was tremendously interesting, and there was no doubt in my mind that from the videotape that this thing occurred, but there was so many people jumped on it as a hoax, and it got footage to try and prove it was a hoax, but in my opinion, it was not. It was a true thing. And Walter just took a tremendous amount of flack over the years for showing this film and for saying the things he did, but I believe it's 100%.
He's not easy to get as an interviewee. I've tried to get on Walters a few times, and he's somewhat cantankerous and not very interested in publicity. Is that your point?
I would be too if I had undergone what he did. I mean, he just took it was merciless.
Wasn't there something about somebody who supposedly found a model in a house that Walters had rented or something like that? I can't.
He stole his house, and the people who moved in found in the attic a model of what he had videotaped made out of, I think he's a designer or an architect, out of some architectural drawings. that he made. Unfortunately, the people who tried to hoax this used architectural drawings that were dated after, substantially after this incident. And it was just a complete setup from beginning to end.
Well, and yet, that and the guys who tromp around the field in England and any other story, weak as it may be, John, that seems to make people laugh almost and say, "Aha, see the hoax." Those stories stick like glue.
Yeah.
50 people can look up in the sky and see a saucer or see a crap, and one stupid story comes along and it blows away all that good. Why is that?
Because the disinformation is so firmly in place after 46 years that there's just no way they've done a fantastic job of disinformation.
What is the John Lear hypothesis?
That was the hypothesis that I wrote in December of 1987 when I felt really strongly that people had here and they had to deal with our government to provide the health and the security and the secrecy of the overall program in return for advanced technology, with weapons and whatever technology. And it was just something that I wrote then, which became known as John Lear hypothesis. Since then, I've modified several of the views, but essentially it's the same.
So by 87, you were
Deep into it, and that's when I gave the lectures at the Spring Valley Library, and that's when I usually they had feedback to 300, and I never had a speaker that drew over, say, 40 or 50, maybe 50 people, and they had 700 people show up every time I came to speak. And it was then that one of the guys who attended the lectures wanted to borrow some ink. He came over to my house and I brought with him and Bob Lazar, and formerly worked at in New Mexico at the LANL. What am I trying to laboratory? No, not Dan. I could forget the name, but he worked there as a scientist, and he just didn't believe in UFOs at all. I mean, it was a joke to him. And we watched some tapes, and I loaned some tapes, and over a period of a few months, he became more and more suspicious, not so much of the evidence of these UFOs, but of the strange ways in which the government tried to cover up and suppress some of the information. At any rate, there came a point where he had not been in the scientific community for working with it for several years. He decided that he'd try and get in and see if he could, find out if it was really true. So he made an application to, first of all, he called Dr. Keller, who he had known from New Mexico.
That's the SDI club.
Right. And the father of the H fund. In Keller, he was given an interview at ETG, and over the process of, I think it was a couple of months, he was invited to go to work up at the test site. Now, I knew that he was getting interviewed, but I didn't know when he was going. And then in December of 1988, he came up to my house, and I was putting up some checks, and he sat in front of my desk, and I said, "What's going on, Bob?" And he said, "It was like about 7 or 8 years." He said, "I saw a disc today." I thought he didn't hear him clearly. What? He said, "I saw a disc today." And I said, "They're yours." He said, "Theirs." And I said, "Oh my God, did you go to the post office?" He said, "Yeah, I just got back." And I said, "Well, what are you doing here?" I said, "Obviously, they followed you, and you're not supposed to tell you. Why don't you work up there for a while and then tell us what's going on?" He said, "No." He said, "Well, you've taken such a lot of flack over this, that I think he deserved to know, and then he wants to do what he had seen during the time he was up there, which included a disc, some of the technology, a lot of briefing before. And we talked for about 3 hours, in fact, it was 3 hours and 17 minutes, because when he got home, there was a knock on his door, and there was 2 security guys there who asked him to come along if they had some questions. They took him downtown to an office there, and they said, what were you doing in John Lear's house for 3 hours and 13 minutes? And we had already picked up a story where I was filling out a lawsuit. And it went from there. Anyway, he worked up there for about 4 or 5 months and really good.
Bob's job.
Bob's job at that store was to find a back engineer one of the extraterrestrial vehicles. In other words, his job was to back engineer the propulsion of the craft to find out how it worked and find out if we could duplicate. But he said there was only about 20 people, maybe 15 or 20 people working up there, and they didn't really have the resources or the equipment to do a proper job. And one of the reasons he went public was his disagreement of how the project was being handled. He felt that it could be more spread around, that people with the actual talent, more people with actual talent should be allowed to participate in this project.
So it was very compartmentalized.
Very compartmentalized, as all things are. But anyway, on March 21st, 1989, I was over in town, and it was a Tuesday, and he said, John, they're going to test fly one of the craft tomorrow. Do you want to go see it? And I said, well, how can we do that? And he said, well, I know a place near Groom Lake we can drive, and we can not be within the kind of confines of the restricted area, and we can walk. So he and I think his wife, and Gene Hoff, who was the one who introduced me to Mom, drove up there. And I said, when do they test? He said, well, right at sunset. And it's always on Wednesday evening because statistically, that is the time of least travel in that particular area, Highway 275. So we go up there and unload the motorhome, and I had my Celestion 8 telescope, which is a very powerful telescope. And we were unloading it, and here this thing comes from behind the mountain. And they're watching it, not trying to focus on it. Very difficult because I had the 90-degree objective in it, and up is down, left is right. And finally I got it, and it was no doubt in my mind. I was looking at a real flying saucer. It was kind of yellowish orange, and it was radiating something just below it, and it settled back behind the mountain. And for all the people that try and put it on and say, no, he didn't work there, no, he's just making it all up. The fact is, he told me a damn thing that's exactly why, with a, bunch of mine is up for myself. So unless you think I'm in on the hook, he's telling you did work there.
Well, of course, he blew way out of, there's been no remuneration that I know of. There is some kind of a movie underway, though, isn't there, John?
Yeah, they're making a movie on his life story.
On his life story.
Yeah. It's a 2-line cinema. The movie company, I think they're well advanced in the project. I think they're finished the script. I don't know too much about it, but...
Have you been involved in it at all?
No,
not at all. So, through all these years of the interviews with you, as you've investigated and I've done radio, I have yet to see you be involved in any profit aspect of this. And you just haven't gone after it, and I'm sure you could have. I mean, your name is everywhere in UFO journals, and you're very similar, so you could have capitalized on it at any point.
No, I just wanted to find out what the truth is, if that was possible, just for my own interest. I love flying, and that's my business, and I do it, 18 days a month, and I have 10, 12 days off, and I go out on my days off and take care of my lawn, and the rest of it, I totally absorbed. It was very easy to get in this field, and your whole life is consumed with chasing down every little lead. I think I got to pretty much as we're ever going to find out. And that was enough for me.
All right. You were working flying then, of course, as you always do. And this whole thing got you fired, didn't it?
Yeah, I was a senior captain with a very large charter company called American Transfer. Senior captain on the Lucky Out 1011. I've been one for 6 years. I was a check airman. And July 7th, they called me to Indianapolis. And I really didn't know what it was about. And I walked into this room, and I was the vice president of operations, chief of an attorney, and a guy from human resources. They held up an article that had been written about me, and they said, John, is it true that you believe in flying saucers? And I said, yes. And they said, why? And I gave about a 10-minute summary, and they said, John, there's no possible way that anybody who believes in flying saucers would be a captain for American Transatlantic. You're fired. You're fired. Just like that. I said, well, look, I said, if it's, I'm trying not to involve the company at all. I said, how about if I just not get any more lectures and you take a look at this maybe 90 pages down the line and you can see that, I've been true to my word. And he said, no, this is it. And so they gave me 2 months pay if I would sign a statement that I would never do this. Which I did because I couldn't afford to go very long without a paycheck.
Sure.
And I went to work for another company.
As you look back on your career there, John, how much left other than that particular incident have you did?
I lost another job that I really would have liked to have had. That involved the Air Force and NASA. It was a project that I really wanted to do. And I was actually hired by the contracting company. But they called me up one day, and the contracting officer said, John, I don't know what you did to irritate the Air Force and NASA, but when we submitted your name as one of the pilots, they said not only no, but hell no. And
so the word complaint effect.
Yeah, I don't give lectures anymore. I never wrote a book. I don't intend to. This is really the only thing that I ever do is whenever you call, because you've been really fair with me over the years, and it's kind of nice to come on and chat once in a while.
All right, so that's a pretty complete history of your involvement and of UFOs in general. I've got facts here, and if anybody else who wants to fax us with a question, I'll let you know to do it. At area code 702-727-8499. I'll give that number again, but here's a question for you, it's a classic. A lot of people speculate the reason UFOs are kept secret is that it would conflict with religion. Personally, I think UFOs and religion can co-communicate in reality with no conflict. I'd be interested in what John has to say on the subject.
As you know, I consider totally clear of any religious aspect of this, because all of it is irritating for me. So
it really does, I know. And so I thought I'd just let him get it out of the way.
But the answer is yes. What the overriding reason is religion. And before we go to the phones, if that's what we're going to do,
right after the top of the hour. Right after the top of the hour.
Okay, well then give me time to ask 5 questions and answer them to avoid having people call up and ask the question.
All right, good. Let's start on the air.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
If they're here, why don't they contact our president? Well, I think we all know the answer to that concerning our current president, but let's assume we had another president. And the answer is this. When you visit an ant farm, do you just talk to any old ant, or do you find the queen and talk to her?
I'm not sure I like being part of the ant farm, I guess I am.
Here's the second question. The government couldn't cover up Watergate. How could they cover this up for 45 years? Well, the Watergate episode was an inside job to get Nixon out of office. Just as the assassination of President Kennedy was, but with a little more, but not much more, tact. Now, that's a 1990, but there was an inside job. The fact is, the government can cover up anything they want to support it enough, and I can assure you, if you are a reasonably well-informed, if you only know about 5% of what there is to know.
I used to worry about that, John, myself, but I too have joined the club of epic and keep it simple and simple.
Now, let's see, if what you have to say is really true, John Lear, then why didn't the government stop you? Number one, it would only add credibility to my story, and number two, I don't reach enough people for it to make any difference. The belief systems are too well locked in for me to be of any great threat at all. Without hardware, there is simply no proof, regardless of the eyewitnesses.
It's true.
Why would any of the astronauts, the military actors, come forward and tell the truth? The answer is for the simple reason that all of us are dependent on money, whether it's current employment or retirement pay for our very existence. For an astronaut or military man to come forward with the truth would make him 3 minutes on hard copy and the rest of his retirement working at his 7-Eleven. For what?
Yeah, I agree. Although there was a recent statement by Neil Armstrong that would cause your teeth to back. Are you familiar with that at all?
What did he say?
Rather than paraphrase it, John, I'm going to dig it out of my computer during the top of the hour, and I'll give you the comment and listen to what you have to say about it. It's fascinating. Anyway, do you have one more?
One quick more is, what about the news media? You're paying around these Tom Brokaws and your tech couples. Why wouldn't they come forward and tell the truth? And for the very simple reason that they are glorified teleprompter readers. They have very little say about what they are going to say. They can't come in one fine day and say, tonight I'm going to expose the UFO cover-up. There are just too many people over it with vested interests, such as the station license, to let him do that, notwithstanding the fact that all he has is words and no hardness. So we have three of those 5 questions.
We have, without fail, John, I would bet at least 4 out of 5 of them will be asked before the next one. Hey, have you heard this story about the mysterious ocean noise?
Yeah.
Something or the heartbeats down?
Yeah.
They say they think it's man-made, and they're sitting down divers and they say it might be a ship, even thousands of miles away. These things do travel over the water, but on the other hand, it might be something else.
Well, yeah, I don't have any opinion on that.
He did it on his own because of the events that were just documented over the last 100 years.
Yes, sir.
All right, Neil Armstrong, on the occasion of the anniversary of the Apollo mission of the moon, was at the White House about 3 weeks ago now, I guess 4 weeks ago, something like that. Anyway, Neil Armstrong rarely does public appearances, rarely has anything to say, but when he does, wow, what he said, and I took this quote directly from the NBC News, was as follows, quote, and he said this in the White House, quote, there are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers. There are places to go beyond belief, end quote, Neil Armstrong. What do you think he meant, John?
Well, it sounds like a pretty powerful statement. Both Neil and Buzz Aldrin and most of the apps, all of them have seen them. They've all seen incredible things. And they've been silenced by NASA. And over the years, it kind of worked. They tried to get it out, but they can't be as blatant as they said. I saw this, and yes, I saw that. So I think that's basically what he's saying. I've heard somebody come out very specifically and say, listen to me carefully. There are no UFOs. Do you understand what I'm saying? No UFOs. And what they're saying is, no, there's no unidentified flying objects. They're all identified.
The astronauts, particularly the ones who went to the moon, the early astronauts, have all had big trouble, John. Psychological troubles, a lot of divorces, a lot of drinking, a lot of trouble, period. And one source of that trouble, one might speculate, is that they have knowledge that they can't talk about that's eating away at them. Could that be so?
Definitely. And that's one of the ways in which they keep this secret is through it's called deep hypnosis. where when they tell you this stuff, you're breathing and it involves pain, it involves drugs, it involves hypnosis, so that it doesn't bother you that much. So it doesn't always work on everybody. And they know they have this knowledge, and it's hard to know something with this, with the ramifications of this kind of thing. And not be able to tell them.
Yeah, we need you to line, I suppose. John, just before we go to the phones, you said, and this really is very different than a lot of ufologists today, that you come to the conclusion that while you were digging in earlier years so that the world might know, you now don't think we ought to know, or that we have the right to know, or that it would be good for us to know, or how do you explain that and why?
Well, it has to do with religion, and so people should not know this. This is something that, as irritating as it might be, it's none of their business. There's nothing they can do to influence or modify it in any way. It's best they just go on with their lives and pay their taxes, find something they enjoy, boating, sailing, growing lawn, or something like that, and get on with their life, because there's no reason to know this. And if they knew the true ramifications of this, it would bother them. It could eventually result in a breakdown of society.
The breakdown of society. How much do you know, John, without telling me what you know, how much do you still know that you haven't told?
Not very much. I told you good stuff. I'm not talking about it, religious stuff. If you think a while, you can figure out what it's all about. I told you most of the stuff.
Maybe not all.
No, not all, because there's a lot of sensitive, very sensitive stuff regarding religion.
Let us take some calls, John, and I want to remind everybody the toll-free line is east of the Rockies, only at 1-800-618-8255, and let us venture through it. Hi there, on our east of the Rockies line, you're on the air with John Lear.
Hello there.
No, you're not. On the first time caller line, you're on the air with John Lear. Good morning.
So, John, this is Kogo from San Diego.
San Diego, yes, sir.
Sounds like if the U.S. had some of the technology, that it really would be too big of a problem being confronted with other nations like Russia with their type of military. Do you think this type of technology can be implemented in countries like war or anything like that?
All right. What about it, John?
Well, it certainly can, and this may be the result of the breakdown of society, and maybe we told them what we got, and what direction we wanted to go in. I don't know that for a fact, but it's possible that happened. Our technology base is about 30 years where everyone thinks it is. When you look at the space shuttle and all the satellites and the neat stuff we got going, our technology base is 3 years ahead of that.
30 years ahead.
Just to give you an example of what I'm talking about 25 years ago, they wrote the paper about talking rock technology.
Yes.
And what that was to put a rock in an analytic chamber and gave it a pulse like hello. And the rock absorbed vibrations, and by measuring the vibrations about a half a second later, measuring the vibrations, they could plot the word hello. Well, 25 or 30 years later, what they have now is a means to beam into a room and pulling off measuring vibrations that have been given, any of the crystal structure like glass or windows or anything like that, and pull out a conversation with them.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's some technology. On our east of the Rockies line, you're on the air with John Lear. Good morning.
Oh,
hi, where are you, sir?
Leavenworth, Kansas.
Leavenworth, all right.
Hello?
You're on the air, go ahead.
I was wanting to talk about Project Lear.
All right.
I was wanting to find out whether it's still being researched or if you've even heard of it.
Well, of course. John, any comments on the book that was in more, or is it now going on below the surface.
So it was established in 1948 or 49 and was brought to a halt in 1969 by the Congress Committee. And what they said is based on all their research that flying objects did not represent a threat to national security. Now they didn't go as far to say that they didn't exist. What they said was they're not a threat. But projects were actually the actual project was called GRAD. The research of different sightings, and yet that still does not come to GRAD as an active project.
That's an interesting conclusion, to not rule out their existence, but say they have more, they're not a threat to national security doesn't make sense to me. If they exist, they certainly would be a potential threat.
Yeah. Well, we got away with it.
Yeah. On the toll-free line, you're on the John Lear, the morning where you're calling from.
Kansas, Missouri.
Missouri, all right?
Okay, what I want to say here has to do with the religion aspect, and that's okay with Mr. Lear. Sure. Okay, here's my opinion. It's just my opinion now, so it might not mean anything to you at all. But I am a Christian, and what I have gained from this is that, this is my opinion, but that UFOs have actually been built under watchful eye of the Illuminati. Does that make any sense to you? Yes, I heard that before. What do you think about that?
Choose your words carefully.
Huh? It's possible. For the reason to explain people in the rapture. I don't mean to make this into a religious show.
Yeah, please don't,
Okay.
Please don't. John, what is the connection between religion and UFOs?
It's expound on it.
You would not find agreeable and which you would rather not expound on, I think. John?
No, I don't think you do not want to like religious view.
It's kind of like, when you say this, I guess I have a couple, John, but when you say this, it's like putting a box on the table. It says, do not open this box. And then you leave it there, and everybody who comes past will inevitably open the box. And so they want to open the box. I understand that. But perhaps some boxes are best left unopened.
Right.
On the Route Club line, you're on the old John Lear. Good morning.
I'm calling from the Bay Area, Texas area, and I can prove right now that what Mr. Lear is saying is the opposite of the truth, because the U.S. government is not covering up information about the existence of extraterrestrial life. Government intelligence agencies have been spreading the rumor that aliens are among us, the UFO researchers, and this has been documented by Jacques Vallée in his book Revelations. For example, 1983, the disinformation agent Richard Doty at Kirtland Air Force Base invited Linda Howe to that Air Force Base and showed her these alleged secret documents claiming aliens among us. Then in 1985, Jacques Vallée and J. Allen Hynek were invited to Newark Air Force Base by some generals there and told the aliens are among us. And I think it's all a lie, and I can have a reason for it.
Well, give documents. You said you were proof. That's the value right out.
The proof is what I just told you, and you just get Jacques Vallée's book Revelations. That proves that the government isn't hiding it. It's pushing it on UFO researchers, and the reason for this reverse psychology disinformation campaign was stated by Stanton Friedman when he said, the belief in alien life would cause people to lose the faith in the value of nation states and lead to the acceptance of world government, which is exactly what the power elite to control government wants. They're multinational corporations that have most gained from globalism.
So there is, John, he lays it out. It is something he's charging to lead us toward the one world government.
Well, I certainly respect his opinion, but I don't have any hardware, then I'm certainly not going to be able to prove, what I think.
John, at one time, can you tell the story about Element 115?
Yeah, I don't think 115 is the power source. extraterrestrial craft. We've been able to synthesize up to like 106. But there is an element on a line that is 115, and by pumping protons into 115, it becomes 160, which immediately decays. And what the result of the decay is antimatter. And when antimatter is mixed with matter, it's 100% conversion of battery energy, which is a very, very large explosion. What they do is they control the explosion to create heat. And also out of this reaction, they pull out the gravity wave without going into detail. They use to propel themselves across the universe at speeds hundreds of times faster than the speed of light.
At one time, and you tell as many stories you can, or you tell me to both fly a kite, but you had your hands on some 115, didn't you?
Yeah, Bob was on, had his hands on the 115. We did some experiments which proved it was exactly what he said it was. And I believe it was the evening of the Georgetown UFO development evidence. We kept very close watch on the stuff, but we had it 4 or 5 months. We became a little careless and was left out, and that night they broke into Bob's house and took.
So you no longer have it. And about as close as you come to hardware.
That's correct.
All right, on the whole complete line, you're on the other John Lear. Hello. Hello there? No, you're not. On the first time caller line, you're on the other John Lear. Good morning.
Hi, this is Randy from Leavenworth, Washington.
Hi, Randy.
I'm calling to ask you to learn about the 3 different kinds of aliens. I did a subscribe to a newsletter and talked about all the government research, and the different type ships are different aliens from different sectors in the universe, and there's the reptilian form, the insectoid, and the human type.
Well, there may be a lot more than that. John, how many are there?
Well, opinion, and this is only my opinion, about 70 times that are visiting Earth at one time or another with various agendas. Some of them don't have anything to do with what's going on here. They're just coming down to take a look. But they're all different types. And some of them, that you had a chance to look at it, you actually die of fright because they are so alien to what we are used to.
How about one?
That sounds good.
Okay, thanks. You were down at one. Are they able to appear to us in a form different from that which would cause us to die of fright?
Apparently, some of them can do that, but according to some of the abduction stories, they hide themselves. You can't get a look. You can see their shape, but you can't see their face. And it's prevalent, if you read John Knox's book, it's prevalent throughout all the abductions. They cannot see the face.
Yeah, it's true. I had John back on the program about 3 weeks ago. John.
Very interesting guy, and I really enjoyed his book. It was more than saying, but it is interesting stuff.
You know about the incident in which some young lady apparently set him up?
Yeah, I thought that was really disgraceful, but it's just media tactics. I don't know what you gain by that. It's just,
what agenda, or whose agenda she was serving.
it was just an unfortunate incident.
On the east of the Rockies line, top of the morning, you're on the end of John Lear. Where are you calling from? Portland, Texas. Okay.
Mr. Lear, you think there are things you don't want to talk about for the business purposes, but I wanted to tell a story that is true. All the cosmonauts report seeing these huge angelic like beings with their arms crossed and a smile on their face like they knew someone could have it. And that was before Chernobyl blew up. And John Glenn reports seeing something on C7 flight.
Yes, it really is true. Regarding the angelic beings, Bill and I also remember that report. Do you?
Yeah. No, when they had their arms crossed, they were smiling. They were smiling because Chernobyl was going to happen.
Now that's
What kind of an angel is that?
that's how a disciple when it's full.
Yeah, all right, man, thank you. That's no guardian angel, is it, John?
I like that.
I wonder how she can conclude that it was because of Chernobyl. That's really strange. On the other hand, I recall you saying one thing to me, John, that has haunted me for years and haunts me today.
Yeah.
We have a number of guests on this radio program about life after death. Inevitably, in every warm and fuzzy life after death story, people rush toward the warm, inviting light, down the tunnel, into the light. And once you said to me, John, don't go toward the light, it's a trick. Go toward the darkness.
Well, now remember, I qualified that by saying that's what retrievers told.
Well, it still bugs me to this day, John, because what if I had to make that choice?
Well, right now I'm going towards the person.
You are, huh?
Yeah.
That really drives me crazy. On our toll-free line, you're on the air with John Lear. Good morning. Where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Kodiak, Alaska.
Kodiak, Alaska, yes, sir.
At this stage. I've heard John talk about time travel, and I'm convinced that time travel is possible, and it's already happened. I opened a field when I was 30 years old, and that together with my birth date and the scriptures unlocked the whole mystery.
And so, John, time travel, we talked about it before. It's one of my favorite subjects. Do you believe time travel to be possible?
No question about it. That is absolutely possible. You can go forward in time. It's easier to go back, but you can certainly go back in time.
I once wondered, and as have many people, and I'm going to make you tell me it's not true again, whether you and Mr. Lazar have thought of trying to construct something to traverse.
Well, yes, we thought about it, but it's a big deal. I mean, you just can't go out and make this thing. You need a lot of equipment for that, sheer speculation that it would be fun to try, but, we don't have to really that dark there.
Just an idle question of curiosity, John. If you had such a device,
Incidentally, we were going to go forward because that's a lot easier to do than go back.
that was going to be my question. Where would you go? Time-wise.
Well, all you have to do to go forward in time is create a strong gravitational field. And you more or less just stay there while all the rest of the world passes as time goes by. Then when you remove the gravitational field, you're wherever they were.
I see. All right, on my East Milwaukee's line, you're on the old John Lear. Hello.
Sure.
What are you, sir?
I'm
San Antonio, Texas, all right? Go ahead.
I've got a story about a friend, real friend of mine, I've known for 12 years. He's a guy criminal. And I'm not going to read the name, but so he was a little referred to me and my wife and my encounter with a paycheck. And he told me that he was away from West Texas. And yes, we were in Pancho. And he told me the wife was in his aircraft, but it wasn't an aircraft, it was a large jet. So they talking vehicle came back further, vertical, up and down, and left and right, and then again. And then he was an Air Force criminal retired, and he's still aviation. He's been flying about 5 flights now. There's no way anyone can have a second because he doesn't exist, illness.
All right, so thank you. Well, that's the story. It's true, once you've seen for yourself, your attitude really changes, doesn't it, John?
Yeah, it really does. But, so few of us get to see those things. Now, for instance, I'd love to see when I saw the one that Bob took me up to, when I saw it at night. Now, my wife, apparently, who didn't believe in any of this before, as a matter of fact, it almost came to, it almost put up our family because of my interest in this. She's from Mississippi, and she just didn't believe any of it. And here in 1986, I was on a flight to Frankfurt, and Steve and my daughter Jackie were out in the gardening, and about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and Jackie looks up and she says, "Hey, Mom, look," and they UFO, and they look up, and here's 2 of them. At a very low altitude, less than a quarter of a mile away. They were right near Nellis Airport Base. They were coming from Nellis and went around to the sunrise. Now, that's an extremely rare sighting to this in the daytime. And it really changed your opinion. Of course, she says, "Well, I saw him, but I still don't believe him." But she did see him.
Well, maybe that was the sighting that saved John Lear marriage.
It definitely was the sighting that saved my marriage.
I really can't understand that, John. And you know what, I live out here. You know what I'm close to.
Yeah.
And I see things quite frequently, John. And I'm very hesitant to talk about them. Frankly, I have one major sighting of an aircraft I told you about, or a craft. Right. But I see other things, John, in the night sky a lot. And there are those who say that activity up here has lessened or gone away or been moved. Can you tell me anything about that?
Well, it certainly hasn't been a good sighting in say, 2 years. And so there's a facility in northern Nevada where they do a lot of testing. Are they doing UFO testing? I don't know, but there is a major facility up there. There's also increased activity down in Holland, which seems to be just the new secret aircraft we've got. But yeah, there definitely doesn't seem to be as much testing. It used to be just after Bob and I started talking about this, we used to be able to go to the test site and see all kinds of weird stuff, but they're just not exciting.
I wonder if it is the attention that's been given up there, and there's been a lot of people hanging up there. Of course, they're trying to get more property now and isolate the area. And there's a bit of a government grab going on for property, as you know, John.
Yeah, and I don't really understand what the big deal is, because like in 1980, there was at least 30 AAOs, which are air access only areas in the United States, in which, all this stuff went on. So, Groom Lake is just one of a number of facilities.
It's been a pretty intense area.
It's been a pretty intense area, and they are, and I'm sure they're going to get the land.
I'm sure.
And I've heard that the testing has been severely curtailed for the past year or so.
Too many cameras, too many people. On the totally line, you're on the other side of the road, where are we coming from?
Oh, you're going to get my radio here.
All right, get your radio.
Yeah, got it.
Where are you, sir?
KBI.
KBI. We're east of the Rockies.
Oh.
Thank you very much for calling the Trial the Wild Card line. You're on the other John Lear. Hi.
Hi, Art. How are you?
Fine. Where are you?
Right from Wichita.
All right.
Hi, John. Nice talking to you. Hey, how you doing? Good. It's been a long time since I've been in Wichita. I bet it has. I wondered, are you familiar with the writings of Rene Guénon or John Shooter? No, what's that?